Japanese Grand Prix has become a staple of the LCR calendar, one of only 10 circuits to host 8 rounds consecutively in every single season. And for the 9th time, we're ready for the penultimate round of the season, round 15 of our 16-round circuit ready to go. It's a brilliant, iconic circuit. Let's have a look. And just a few minutes ago, we had a gripping and epic qualifying session, and here is your grid for it. So it's his first ever LCR pole position for the flying fin of Melanie88, who needs pretty much virtually to win to keep his championship hopes alive heading into Brazil. With the old German dog of LCR Leopard, who we thought was very much the favourite for pole position, has to settle on the front row instead with P2 today. But it's his teammate who starts right behind him in P3 today, the Shizu Mulder, crucially splitting the championship protagonist of ERL Burundi, the man that has led the championship since the Chinese Grand Prix, starts from 4th today. And May starts from 5th for the second of the two. So he's 1-5 for the bridesmaid. I think he'll take that one all day, every day. And Boris starts from 6th, the lone Williams on the grid. Of course, his teammate Sims fallen out the championship picture just a few rounds ago. He starts on the 3rd row today. Row number 4 begins with the now full-time racing point of KJ Gamer. Alongside him is the reserve of John Papp. The Greek starts from 8th today. And row 5, the second of the 2 new racing points. It's FRA Vivid who starts from 9th. And Hammy is best, who gets himself into the top 10. Ben, we're racing. There was no formation lap. We're underway. Melanie leads ahead of Leopard, ahead of Burundi, and ahead of Mulder as well. There was no formation lap, so we've been jumped straight into the action, so apologies, we've missed the race start. But Melanie leads, Leopard 2nd, Burundi 3rd, Mulder 4th, and Amazed 5th. Crucially, the 3 protagonists in the top 3. So, apologies for those watching the Twitch stream, of course. You've just missed the race start because we were flat out taken aback, because that's why I saw position changes. I was a bit confused to what was going on. There's a car off on the exit of the Spoon Curve, and I think it's Apex. Yes, it is. He's on the medium compound tyres outside the top 10, of course. Fresh choice tyres outside the top 10 for some of those guys. So lots of Hammy is best. ARS Ashes, the 2 Hasses who make their debut today. The 113th, 114th different LCR drivers are on the mediums. Drizzt Avenger on the mediums as well, along with his teammate of Apex. Flying Finn, the second of the 2 Alfa Romeos outside the top 10. He's on the soft compound tyres. As we make way down towards turn 1 for the second time, Melanie leads ahead of Leopard and ahead of Burundi. Mulder dropped a position away from him. Amaze doing a good job in P5, the remaining where he started. As you can see by the position changes, a lot of people not moving up and down, but that's wide from Amaze at the S's section, and Boris was there to pounce, but he couldn't quite take the opportunity on the outside line as they make their way up towards Dunlop Curve and towards the 2 Degners. Again, apologies for the issues that we've had in the opening laps. But now Melanie holding on to the race lead ahead of Leopard, of course. Melanie has never won outside of Monaco. He looks to try and change that here today in Japan, which, I mean, it's got the same colours on the flag, so it's kind of similar, but not quite. So far, though, however, Leopard doing what he needs to do, really, which is finish ahead of ERL Burundi. But 3 points is nowhere near enough. I mean, I have to get 17 back at the Brazilian Grand Prix, in case you want to know the permutations at the moment. If ERL Burundi were to win here today, he is champion. He cannot be caught as a result. He would go to 27 minimum points clear of Leopard in 2nd position. However, at the moment, as you can see, it is currently a battle between the 2 protagonists of Leopard and Melanie. 2nd and 3rd in the championship, currently sit 1st and 2nd in the Grand Prix. That's a good run from Leopard out of the final corner. Is he got a chance to attack down towards turn 1? With no DRS until just about now as we begin lap number 3. Purple from LCR Leopard, 29.7. He gets closer and closer as they head down towards turn 1. No DRS, however, has a slot in behind and is very much keeping the fin for company, and is losing Burundi, who is almost actually has lost DRS as they head down through the S's for the 3rd time. Ben. Oh, sorry, just Melanie just had a bit of a twitch the Kobayashi hairpin, as you nicknamed it in qualifying. He's, as you can see, left it all over the back of him. It's just a moment there that I think Melani's feeling the pressure a bit here. Crucial move here. Leopard to the Leopard fall back the inside, but also Perundi's dropped back behind Mulder. Into P3 goes the Flying Dutchman, and the championship leader is now crucially got 8 points between himself and Leopard, and 13 between himself and Melanie, which would mean we'd have a three-way showdown heading into Brazil as it stands. Of course, at the moment, even if Melanie were to finish, even if Perundi were to finish third and Melanie won the race, he would still be in the title picture. Of course, it's crucial though for Leopard because he doesn't want to lose this opportunity. With Perundi down in fourth, if he can get past Melanie, that's going to be a big haul of points gain. In fact, it'd be 13 to be precise, which would bring the points tally down to 7, which would really make an interesting fight at the end of the season. 7-point difference, which of course would go back to count back if it was first and second, similar to the season 5 scenario that we had back when Dralex and Leopard finished in the order, and Leopard won it on count back. He would win it on count back again because of course Perundi has only had 2 wins this season. Leopard, if he can win here today, will add it to victory number 7 of the year, and then come 8 if he wins at Brazil as well. But here comes Leopard on Melanie towards the outside, potentially at the last corner. He's very much sniffing the back end of this Mercedes is under the threat as they come out the final corner, heading down the DRS open now as they begin the long run towards Terminal. It's going to be an eternity for Melanie. Goes defensive on the inside. However, Leopard right around the outside takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix on lap number 5. Meanwhile, as well, the 2 racing point swap position is Vivid now ahead of his teammate KJ. Of course, the big news ends this weekend. Those 2 jumping in the car for the final 2 weeks, almost as subs really, full time. Look forward to seeing how they can get on. Currently, both sitting inside the points. It's very much a team affair in the top 10. Both Mercedes, both Red Bulls, both Racing Points, and both Alpha Tauris, all inside the top 10. The only singles at the moment are the only 2 singles on the sheet, really. Birol Perundi, his teammate down in 14th, and Boris Letterbox on his own today, his teammate unavailable, which is why we have 15 today. Nevertheless, Leopard already pulling the gap out like there's no tomorrow to LCR Leopard ahead, gap nearly 7 tenths to him. There's no sign of Ben at the moment, so apologies for the issues we're having at the moment, some technical difficulties. Fortunately, if we were side by side and in person, this wouldn't happen, but of course we can't be. We're a long way apart from each other. Nevertheless, Melanie dropped nearly 1.2 seconds now back to the Red Bull of LCR Leopard, and you do worry, is this going to be a typical Leopard-esque performance? Meanwhile, behind, Boris Letterbox and Amaze side by side at 130R, now through towards the final chicane. They're battling away, and Amaze drops behind Boris, who has the DRS though. Is it in favour of the Merc or is it in favour of the Williams? It's in favour of the Mercedes, so the Scotsman has the advantage of the drag reductions and heading on towards turn 1. As you could think about it, he goes to the inside line, then Boris goes to come off, then goes again. He moves twice on the straight, and he would argue he has moved more, like tries to fight his way down the inside. Scottish courage very much on the urge here against the Englishman. Who's going to hold their own through towards the S? There's more contact, more wheel banging, and Amaze eventually forced into a half spin. It's got really scrappy affair between those 2, and eventually Amaze forced to back out. It's still going to be Boris P5, Amaze P6. Some really, really aggressive driving from the 2 of them, and in the end it revolves with the Scotsman having to yield on that one. Meanwhile, on lap 6 of 27, Mulder teetering about that 1 second margin to Melanie ahead. This really could open doors for Red Bull if Melanie falls to 3rd. It's pretty much him out of the title picture by the way the things currently stand, and Burundi is being towed along as well. I still can't. I don't understand why we still can't hear you on the stream, Ben. I'm not really too. I think we might have the glitch again, so we might have to do. I think so. I think we have to do another ITV break here. This has got a bit of a thing now in LCR. We've done it. At the at the Mexican Grand Prix where we took an ITV ad break. We might have to do another one of them here on lap 7 of 27. So apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in a second. Because obviously there's some sort of issue. Into the pits comes Melanie. Is the first to blink. What was the gap? That was quite a big gap, wasn't it, before they come into the pits? KJ also in behind, as you can see. Mulder in. Yeah, so that's probably a late decision, maybe, Mulder, because obviously your teammate naturally gets the first choice of when he wants to come in. So he probably saw. He is, and this could be really, really interesting now. A man that's making his debut today, Hammy is best, comes across the 114th different LCR competitor to take part today, and is now instantly put into the big end with Melanie now coming out the pits. In fact, actually, he lets him go, and when I say let him go, I mean really let him go. He also let Mulder go as well, so clearly doesn't want to interfere. Next up is a man that's not new to LCR, is very much an experienced old head, an old teammate of Leopard's back in Season 3. Drill's Revenge is next up on the target list for Melanie, heading down towards Spoon Curve. Is he going to think about lunch? No, he's not. He really isn't. So, yeah, where is he now? He's now speeding up. Where's Ashes? He's just now coming down, so he's got ahead of Ashes. Meanwhile, Melanie and Mulder fire past Brad, leaving little to no room for error there, really. And now Melanie's just got to get past Ashes, and he's back to the spearhead. But Letford's got his own traffic here, because John Papp opted to stay out for another lap and takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix, becomes the third different man to do that in this Grand Prix. Leopard, John Papp and Melanie now the three that can say they've led this Grand Prix. Of course, John Papp has to pit nevertheless, but let's see if the old Season 4 rivalry, the man that took the most amount of victories in that season, didn't win the championship. There's a man in Season 9 that's took the most amount of victories so far, and he might not win the championship. LCR Leopard. He's now got to find a way past the man that has been in that position before. Meanwhile, Melanie fires past the second of the two rookies and ARS Ashes and gets herself into P3. I'm sure Mulder's going to try and follow him through coming out of Spoon Curve. Meanwhile, though, we're on board with this battle here. The only other scenario I can think of is probably when Pepsi won it in Season 2. Potentially, yeah, as John Papp's in. So there was no sign of a battle there. He very much let him go, which almost has done Leopard a huge favour because he gets DRS and is miles in front. That's an early start. Sorry, Hammy, yeah, he's into the pits, and that, yeah, he's not having a front wing. It is a genuine strategic choice. He's going onto the hard compound tyres, so he's definitely not going to get a puncture. Let's just say that about the man that's just pitted. Currently 14th, with no retirements following the first 12 laps, which is surprising when you consider Japan. It usually is quite a carnage fest, as Mulder did destroy the 50-metre board there, so now everyone that doesn't use line is going to hate him. So yeah, I've named and shamed him. It was Shazoo Mulder. Oh dear, so he's just screwed himself really, so talk about not helping yourself. Meanwhile, Ashes, why is it put me on? He's dropped a lot of time there. Meanwhile, Burundi flies past Ashes to get himself in a P4, so he's now got no traffic. So now we have the top 4 all as they should be. So it's Leopard ahead of Melanie, ahead of Mulder, and ahead of Burundi at the moment after the opening 30,000. Meanwhile, Mace has gone, the bridesmaid. Oh dear. I mentioned his pace looked really good this weekend, and now he's dropped it and he's going to lose abundance of time. He's not going to lose vision of Vivid because he's come out just ahead of him. But I don't know if there was an incident there with Boris, because they were getting really aggressive earlier in the race. I didn't realise that. £26 points. It does, which... I mean, of course, if you know LCR Leopard, I'm sure that's a rather big reprieve for him, because there's a lot of times where penalties have impacted his results. Not even just game penalties, sometimes post-race penalties as well have played a major factor in the stewarding. I mean, it has done, you have to admit it. He has seen his fair share of stewarding inquiry. Remember, of course, back to USA where he actually lost the race victory because of an incident with FRA Vivid, who was on good pace then. He's on good pace now. He's currently just behind the bridesmaid in P8. Meanwhile, Boris has got a run here on Ashes. What about... because obviously Burundi, he can stay within. They've still got just under half the race distance, so yeah. So Shazum Mulder. So Shazum Mulder carrying a 3-second time penalty over his head. Biro Burundi currently clear, so of course he will leap him, which would mean, crucially, in the standings at the moment, Melanie would be eliminated from the championship line. It would go down to a 2-way fight to put the championship into perspective for you. Of course, with the permutations as they are. So Leopard would bring the gap down to 10 points, which means if the results were the same at Brazil, it would go to a count back and Leopard would win. Because, of course, he has more victories than Burundi, which would be the second time, and possibly in league racing history, a driver has won 2 championships on count back. It is possible, though, as the things stand. Of course, if Burundi's in third, Melanie needs to win in the same way that even without the penalty, Melanie would still need to win to keep the championship hope alive. And I think even Melanie knew it was mission impossible. I mean, he got pole position, he become the 35th different man to score an LCR pole position, and it's just not quite gone his way in the early stages. Leopard got past, and as you mentioned, Leopard was the heavy favourite anyway, so no real surprise, realistically. He's eliminated at the moment, yes, he has to win. Even if Burundi... even if Burundi was to fall to Boris, he would still not be in the championship position at the moment. Of course, that he would still have to win. It's only then if he falls to 6th behind Ashes, of course, who has to pit, and then there's a Maze, the next car behind him. We just got past Brad, by the way, on the previous lap into P7. He went, and Vivid just now followed him through. The 2 Americans of LCR. Passing each other. In fact, the first nationality recognised in the LCR history, of course, with Tractor. Then second is Great Britain. So there you go. There's your fun fact for you. But of course, yes. So at the moment, Melanie is out of the championship. He had to finish in the middle of the top 5 anyway, regardless of where everyone finished. But it's looking more and more likely that we'll go to a 2-way showdown at the Brazilian Grand Prix. But still 12 laps to go. Still plenty of time. Anything could change. He was on the softs. Actually, he was on the softs. He was like, I think he was the only one outside the top 10. I mean, you mentioned this in qualifying that, of course, the alternate strategy is pretty risky around him. I mean, we've seen that so far with a few of the drivers outside the top 10, the likes of Ashes, Brad, but then Flying Finn opted for the softs and has now gone to the hards, which wasn't the conventional idea, but I don't know if it was wing damage related or something, but he's now down in 15th, 3 seconds behind Hammy is best, who's a good 12 seconds off the car in front, which is John Pat. Because there is pit stops to go with Apex, Brad and Ashes, who could be in an outside shot of the points in the closing stages with the way things are going if he goes into the softs, as he's currently being compounded, actually just been hit by a maze there at Spoon Curve, and past goes both Vivid and the Bridesmaid in the 6th and 7th, and Vivid now has got an opportunity to attack the Mercedes ahead. So I think Vivid is an underdog in this race, really. He's sort of kept himself to himself, but he's on for some nearly double points in P6 at the moment if he can get past Amazed. Yeah, I mean, of course, it is rather interesting to sort of see that KJ's not really had the usual impact that we see from him. Of course, the man that I nicknamed Mr. Saturday in LCR, because of course he has a tendency to get himself up towards the front in qualifying. He didn't really do that today, starting from P6. I want to say, was it P7? Something like it. It was loading. It was in the top 10, but quite low down nevertheless. So probably should have forgotten that one. But yes, he's currently now in P9, his teammate in P7. Of course, those two are teammates for the final two rounds, as I did mention earlier. The Racing Point's going to be flying the flag. Of course, it was originally the Racing Point team of York and Melanie. Of course, then the York decided to call it quits. Then Melanie went to Mercedes, and then, of course, Dralex jumped in that reserve seat, which was really weird because Melanie was battling Racing Point and Dralex was battling Mercedes when only a few rounds ago they were driving for them teams. It got real confusing, but nevertheless, the principle stands that Racing Point have very much been a afterthought. Well, it's funny you should say that. I have a preferred car because, of course, is one that sticks in the mind. Of course, I'd have to be an Alfa Romeo. I just have to, just to reignite the Alfa Romeos, the good old days of season 7. No, that's fair enough. I would want you to be my teammate anyway. Yeah, how's that for you? It's good chemistry in LCR as usual. Alfa Romeo Merc. I've always liked it, but I never had a chance to drive it in leagues because I never really got picked for it. Alpha Tauri. I absolutely love the Alpha Tauri car. Meanwhile, we should actually kind of cut off here because Mulder is getting ever closer to Melanie here and down towards turn 1. I mean, if he can get past the Finnish driver, he's still got another 8 or so laps to get that 3 seconds out to ultimately squash Melanie of a P2 hope. But he's turned the pressure up really in the past lap or so. Been on board with the battle and he's just been creeping up. Then down the DRS straight, he got really close. So I think Melanie's once again having to turn up the heat because of Red Bull's behind him, but it's not Leopard, it's Mulder this time. It's a possibility. Of course, just talking to you about statistics at the moment in terms of what it would mean in terms of the current way things are looking. Of course, there is still a chance for things to change. So Leopard would take victory number 42 of his LCR career. Of course, the first one at race 32 Australia, which was over 112 races ago now. Of course, we're on race 144 this weekend, on the road towards 150 here in LCR. Of course, season 10 will be the crowning of that, round 5 of the calendar. Of course, the next round will be the final of season 9, round number 18, where we travel to Brazil. That will end LCR season 9, and we get ready. Sorry, round 16, I should say, not round 18. I do apologise. I'm doing a crofty here, but of course it becomes season 10, which I mean is a pretty big hallmark really for seasons. I don't know what Dan's got planned as what happened. I was on board. I didn't actually see a lock-up. Hey? He has as well? Come on, son! Judges Revenge, fastest lap of the race, a 1:28.4 set by the Ferrari driver. Wow. That's come out the blue. It has taken away, by the way. It would have been a second of 2 in a row for LCR Leopard Grand Slam victories. In fact, no, it wouldn't because he didn't get pole. Apologies. Didn't get pole. What's it looking like? Let's have a little look. Wow, that is insane. That's 3/10 buffer on the medium so far. 9 laps into his stint. Meanwhile, Mulder getting very, very close to Melon there. I was just watching the gap, and he did get very close. Meanwhile, into the pits comes KJ Gamer, and I imagine this might be the first retirement of the session. If not, it's just a normal planned pit stop. He's going to go on to the soft compound tyres. It's not for a front wing. It's just a pit stop. I've done 9 laps. Does he want to set fastest lap? You never know. So Brad, of course, if he was to hold on to this fastest lap, would take his 11th fastest lap of his LCR career. We even have stats for fast lap. How about that? Whereas if KJ were to get it, I don't think he's ever had one in his LCR career. He hasn't. He's never had fastest lap since joining LCR, so it'd go down as his first. Oh no, he has. Sorry, apologies. The Mexican Grand Prix last season. What do I know? Season 8 Mexico was when he took the fastest lap. This season, we have seen some new ones. Street Gamer, BRL Pro Indy, FXB Ardeen and Pietromato being those that have taken fastest laps. This season, as a new one, of course, he did. He got it at the Monaco Grand Prix. It's incredible, really, stat. It was his 4th start in LCR, and he's now bagged a fast lap as well. And KJ looks to be on his way to claiming one as well. Of course, John is still fastest, and you imagine that probably will change when KJ completes his first full lap on the softs. Of course, the qualifying man is now going to do a qualifying lap on lap 22 of 27 of the race, rather than the qualifying session. So, going for something a bit different there. Let's go in hell for leather, really. Meanwhile, Mulder still teetering about that 7/10 window. Perundi still 1.3 seconds back. Of course, if Boris can get a move on, Mulder could drop to P5, because I don't think Boris has a penalty either. A lot of people not having penalties in this one. Let's have a quick scan through. So Leopard's even got a warning. Melanie has one warning, as we've mentioned. 1 penalty for Shizu Mulder. BR Burundi still without a penalty. No, because it's... Yeah, so it would go to 10 points between them heading into the Brazilian Grand Prix. Because it's 20 points. So, of course, the big talking point about the final 2 rounds, of course, was the fact that Leopard had to hope that Burundi didn't just finish second in the last 2 rounds, because of course that'd be 14 points. The 6 points the difference would be, but this is exactly what he needs. 10 points in the first round, that's 50% of the work done. If it's 10 points again at Brazil, count back again, as I mentioned. Count back is a very big possibility. We've seen it once in LCR history. Season 5 could be second time at Brazil, but there's still that possibility that Burundi might show up for his home race and will produce a sterling result. There is still that very much possibility, because I mean, I don't know about you, Ben, but I always find when it's the British Grand Prix, I seem to turn it up a little bit more. Mulder had a massive bit of oversteer at Spoon, and my heart sunk for a second because I thought he was going to drop it. I just looked like, you know, when you look at it, and you know when, like, obviously you're behind the wheel, I would have dropped it there. That'd have been me just gone. I'd have been in the wall. Yeah, I know, but even then I'd have been put it in the wall because I'd have overcorrected it. That's my problem. Either that or I'd have panic short shifted up to about 8th gear and then just like lost the back end as a result. Yeah. Well, actually, I have got a wheel defect as well. Yeah, to the point where for some reason, if I short shift, if I downshift, it will downshift twice, or sometimes won't register it down. It's inconsistent. Anyway, enough about my petty excuses. Yeah, I haven't got a PC though. So nevertheless, okay, there we go. So I might be able to fix my wheel. Anyway, just over 3.5 laps to go left of the Japanese Grand Prix. The second half of this Grand Prix has very much been a steady flow, I think I would describe it as. Oh, Brad. Did KJ go fastest in the end? He did, 28.1. So he's on course to set his second fast lap in LCR. I can't believe we have a fastest lap stat on the LCR spreadsheet. That is mad. Yes, 15. Average close though. Brad's got 10. Meanwhile, here comes Mulder on Melanie heading down towards turn 1. Pops off the inside line. Isn't able to get past Melanie, trying to squeeze him, but then still they're side by side through the loop, and they head up towards the S's. Now can Melanie squeeze him out on the apex? Yes, he can, and just about they survive, but that's not going to help. TMS. Yes, TMS. John's not TMS anymore, I don't think. No, I don't think John is in TMS. I think he left a long time ago. Oh, he's now gone off. He's left the track, let alone left the team. He's gone off at the S's and then spins the wheels, and for good measure is now behind KJ, who's now on the back of Ben, and he's decided to take his venture out early. You know, he's cashed out early, pretty much, as I would say, on some people that put bets on and somehow predict Sebastian Vettel to score a podium at the Turkish Grand Prix. And guarantee some people went a bit nuts when he got past at the last few corners. Oh, you poor thing. You poor thing. So, penultimate lap time for the 5-time champion that very much we could be looking at this weekend saying, is this the one that opened the door for the 6th? He will win and make it a successive 3 victories on the bounce, which hasn't happened since Leopard done it at Austria, Britain, Belgium this season. Yes, Yes, it was. It's been a little while since we've seen a free. In fact, we hadn't seen 2 successive wins since. Well, this season hasn't seen 2 successive wins until Leopard come and done 3 different stints of wins in a row. So to say it's looking up for him. I don't know, actually. That's a really good point. It's not something that's on the stats. So, yeah, so just looking. Surprisingly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins successively. TOR Pepsi. Yeah. Leopard is just reading. Oh, yes, he has. Sorry, apologies for missing that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so not the best debut for him. John done it 5 times in season. Sorry, I'm just looking at the stats here. But yeah, Mulder's now got 6, which does that open the door for? It does open the door for Boris, doesn't it? So he will fall to P5. That's staggering, really, on the last lap. That of all the people, Mulder has been caught out, and it has been a very interesting Grand Prix for him because he's been constantly in and amongst it. Here he comes, LCR Leopard, victory number 42, and this could be a real opening. 10 points at Brazil, it's victory in Japan today. Melanie will come home to take P2, and sadly, due to the result of Burundi finishing on the podium, we can see now, falls out of the championship picture, which means it's down to Alfa Romeo versus Red Bull. Boris beats Mulder to the line in the end with P4 due to penalty for Mulder in P5. Amaze cross the line P6, but falls to P7 due to Vivid with the lack of penalty. So 8 points on his full-time debut today for Racing Point. KJ will come round toward the final few corners after passing TMS Ben on the final few laps to get P8 after what has been a very topsy-turvy drive